Thank you. I have a question for everyone. What do golfers and designers have in common? Neither are inclined to work together as a team. Golfers train and compete as individuals, except for the occasional tournament like the Ryder's Cup. Designers believe they can design it all, except for when they're making software. And today, I want to talk to you about how we build effective teams and how that affects our output, especially in situations where we group together people trained as individuals and we expect them to become a high-performing team, like we do in our work environments. And I came across this story about golf when I was dealing with my own failures with building a cohesive team. And it taught me lessons about teamwork, connections, and communication that I want to share with you today. But first, the story. It starts in 2008, and the Ryder's Cup U.S. golf team captain was a man named Paul Azinger. Paul had this problem. He had to bring together golfers to become a team, but he only had 1 week. And traditionally, the teams before him paired golfers by skill set, much like the way we build teams. But Paul had a different idea. He wanted to pair personalities. And he believed if they could communicate a well-placed comment, a subtle facial expression, they could propel each other across the green for the win. And he was right. They finally won that tournament. What Paul figured out, and the teams before him missed, was that the golfers understood skill set. They knew the goal, win the Ryder's Cup. But what he gave them was the opportunity for better connection and stronger communication. Now, what does this have to do with designing software and teaching students to design software like I do in my day job? Where I work, we're traditionalists, and we think in skill sets. Pair this visual designer with this design researcher, point them towards the right goal, and you have the best team ever. We know this is not true, yet we perpetuate this idea every day. And I brought this idea into my classroom where I teach design portfolio. And this is typically the last class students go through before they enter the job market. And I unwittingly hammered home in every class, you have to be the best designer with the best portfolio to get a hint at a job interview. So it's no wonder that out of the 15 students in my class, only 3 completed their portfolio. 3. This was a huge failure for me. And as a teacher, I needed to get better. I needed to improve the situation for my students. And I started to focus on one student who was actually so successful in the class. And she got hired right out of the class. And let's call her Emma. Emma's my case study. Emma's approach was simple, yet none of the other teachers, including me, were doing it. And from Emma's perspective, the task of looking for jobs, applying, interviewing, and finishing her portfolio, these were all so daunting that she couldn't do it by herself. And so she gathered together a group of design students who can help her with these skills and support her with these goals. And over time, some of the students left because they didn't have the right skill set. Others couldn't commit to the same goals. And some could not or did not want to connect in any meaningful way with the rest of the group. But what this left her with was a solid team. Right level of skills, right level of commitment, right level of connection with each other. And I went further and I asked her current team where she works, why they hired her, and they said, there's no doubt. We knew Emma was awesome and we knew she'd fit in. And I realized at that moment, Emma's ability to build a cohesive team and be effective in it set herself up for success. Now, some of this can be attributed to Emma, but I can still take these lessons and bring it into my portfolio class to improve the situation. And I started requiring or getting my students to communicate with each other by requiring them to check in with every class. And this gave them permission to get up from their computers, help the person next to them, and get more comfortable with asking for help. And I learned that students understand skills. They know the goal. But we have to teach them how to communicate better. And sadly, this is where our education system falls short. What Paul and Emma have showed us is that we have to teach our students to connect more on a human level. We have to teach them to offer value, to be vulnerable, to build skills and to build groups to support them with their lifelong goals. We have to let them know they can't do it by themselves, and that's okay. We can change how our students enter the workplace, how they affect the world around them, if we just teach them how to build cohesive teams. Thank you.